You think you're in control, until one word, one look, one memory breaks you. And suddenly, your mind is not yours anymore. I know what that feels like. To be held hostage by your own reaction. Your heart pounds, your hands tremble, and the words that come out of your mouth, you regret them before they even land. And later, you ask yourself, why did I say that? Why couldn't I just stay calm? Let's start here. Not with control, but with loss of control. Because until you've been swallowed by the storm, you can't know the value of peace. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, writing in the flickering silence of a war tent, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But what does that mean when your own mind turns against you? When the event that breaks you comes not from the outside, but from within? The truth is brutal. We don't control our emotions by pretending they're not there. We control them by watching them, studying them, naming them, and refusing to be ruled by them. Because anger isn't strength. Fear isn't wisdom. And sorrow, no matter how noble it may seem, won't give you clarity. These emotions scream for your attention, they demand a reaction. But reaction is not the same as response. One is a chain around your neck. The other, a blade to cut it. So let me ask you, how long will you let emotion write the story of your life? The Stoics trained for this every day. Like soldiers, they anticipated the worst, not out of pessimism, but to become unshakable. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And that's what emotions do, they bend the present with the weight of imagined futures. They paint ghosts into your days. They turn passing moments into permanent wounds, if you let them. But you don't have to. You can pause. Breathe. Look at what you feel without becoming it. It sounds simple. But in that space between stimulus and response, that is where your freedom lives. Most people never find that space. They explode, collapse, lash out, retreat. They are windblown by every insult, every delay, every failure. They confuse passion with power, and drama with depth. But emotion without direction is chaos. And chaos, left unchecked, consumes the soul. So here's the secret, it's not about suppression. It's about discipline. You don't bury your feelings, you face them like a warrior walking into fire. You let them speak. Then you decide if they deserve to stay. Try this the next time you're overwhelmed. Don't say, "I'm angry." Say, "Anger is here." That shift matters. One makes it your identity. The other makes it an experience, passing, like weather. Marcus Aurelius would meditate on death not to feel morbid, but to remember, life is too short to waste in rage. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused it? He asked. Ask yourself that too. How often have your emotions caused more pain than the event itself? Think back. The missed call. The betrayal. The lie. The silence. The thing you carried for months. What really hurt you, what happened, or the story you told yourself afterward. You see, emotion untamed is a liar. It will tell you that you're broken. That the world is against you. That you must scream, must cry, must hurt someone to be heard. But none of that is true. You don't need to shout to be strong. You don't need to win the moment, you need to win yourself. Epictetus, once a slave, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And this was no theory for him. He walked through life with a crippled body and a liberated mind. He learned to draw a line between pain and suffering. Between what is felt, and what is chosen. And you can learn that too. The next time your blood rises, your jaw tightens, your vision narrows, don't act. Just notice. Sit with it. Don't run. Let the fire rise in you, but don't let it burn the house down. This is how you begin. Not by becoming emotionless, but by becoming aware. Because awareness is the first gate. Control is not a switch you flip. It's a path you walk. Slowly. Stumbling sometimes. But every step away from impulse is a step toward freedom. And here's the truth most people avoid. You can feel everything and still choose nothing. You can ache and not lash out. You can tremble and still speak with calm. You can feel rage without becoming rage. You are not your emotion. You are the master of it. But only if you're willing to take that role. Only if you stop blaming the world for what begins inside you. The world will keep testing you. A driver will cut you off. A friend will betray you. A stranger will humiliate you. And then it will ask, who are you now? Most people break. Not because they are weak, but because they never trained. They built their lives like castles of sand, beautiful but defenseless. One wave, and it's gone. They confuse reacting with living. But Stoicism teaches another way. To live is to hold the line. To say, yes, I feel this, but I will not serve it. Seneca said, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. You are being tested not to be destroyed, but to be revealed. Your temper is not your truth. Your panic is not your essence. Your sorrow is not your soul. There is something deeper. You've seen it in moments, when you wanted to scream but chose silence instead. When you wanted to run but stayed. When you wanted revenge but let go. That is strength. Not the kind that makes headlines, but the kind that makes peace. So how do you train for this? The Stoics had a ritual. Each morning, they imagined every difficulty that might come. Not to invite misery, but to prepare. Marcus Aurelius called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He would say to himself, today I will meet people who are selfish, ungrateful, deceitful, jealous, and arrogant. And yet, I will not let that poison my mind. I will not become what I despise. He met the day like a warrior, not a victim. And so can you. Before you open your phone, before you speak to anyone, take a breath. Say to yourself, today, I will be tested. And when that moment comes, because it always comes, I will respond, not react. This one habit can save your relationships. It can save your energy. It can save your life. But you must mean it. Emotional control is not about closing your heart. It's about opening your eyes. It's about recognizing the animal inside you, and refusing to let it rule the kingdom. People will say you've changed. They'll say you've become cold, detached. That's fine. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think your calm is weakness. Only you will know the storm you chose not to unleash. Because control is not loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't need to prove anything. It is quiet. Still. Like a mountain watching a wildfire burn below, knowing it cannot be reached. This is your goal. Not to feel nothing, but to be moved only by what deserves to move you. How many times have you ruined something important because you let a passing feeling take the wheel? How many conversations ended in regret? How many nights were lost to thoughts you couldn't stop? You are not broken. You are simply untrained. And this is the training. Don't wait for peace to find you. Create it in yourself. Seneca taught, a man who is angry is not only distressed by pain, but adds hatred to it. Think about that. You are doubling your suffering when you indulge the emotion. You are digging a deeper hole, when all you needed to do was stop. But the world won't reward this instantly. No one applauds the person who bites their tongue. No one cheers for the one who chooses restraint. But you don't do it for applause. You do it because it is right. Because freedom from emotion is freedom from manipulation. No one can control you if you control yourself. Epictetus once said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. And there it is. The brutal truth. We blame others for pushing our buttons, but we're the ones who installed them. So start uninstalling them. Take one situation that normally drives you mad, and change the script. Smile instead of shouting. Wait instead of reacting. Say nothing instead of defending. Watch how the energy shifts. Not just in them, but in you. You will feel it, power returning to your hands. Not the power to dominate others, but the power to rule yourself. And if you fail? If you fall into the same old trap? Good. That's part of the path. Failure is not the opposite of control. It is the training ground for it. The Stoics never asked for perfection. They asked for progress. So get up. Reflect. Learn. And next time, be better. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to win every battle. You only need to stop letting emotion choose your path. You don't control the world. But you can control how you walk through it. Most people live as slaves, and they don't even know it. Not to another person. Not to a government. But to their own impulses. They are dragged by emotion like a prisoner by chains. Anger pulls. Jealousy yanks. Fear tightens the grip. They say they're free. But watch how easily a single word can reduce them. A delay. A rejection. A look. And suddenly, they're no longer living, they're reacting. You were not born to be a puppet. There is a line in your soul that must never be crossed. Not by others, and not by yourself. And that line is this: nothing has the right to own your peace. The Stoics believe that the only true possession is your inner state. You can lose your job, your health, even your life. But if you don't lose your clarity, you haven't lost yourself. That's why Marcus Aurelius could say, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That is the key. The estimate. You think a comment is an attack. You think a delay is a disaster. You think a mistake is the end. But it's not the event, it's your interpretation. Control the interpretation, and you control the experience. But most people never do that. They let their emotions be law. As if feeling something makes it true. I feel disrespected, so they assume they were. I feel anxious, so they assume something must be wrong. But feelings are weather. Some days clear. Some days violent. And none of them define the sky. You are not what you feel. You are what you choose in spite of it. So how do you build that choice? With practice. With repetition. With failure and reflection. Start here. When something upsets you, don't respond. Ask, what story am I telling myself right now? That's where the emotion lives. In the story. Not the facts. The fact is someone didn't text back. The story is, they don't care about me. The fact is you made a mistake. The story is, I always fail. Break the story, and the emotion breaks with it. This takes courage. Most people don't want to do this work. They prefer the illusion of certainty. It's easier to blame others than to examine your own lens. But that's where the power is, in the pause. In the space where you question your perception. Epictetus wrote, when someone irritates you, it is not the person's actions that disturb you, but your own judgment about them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. That's the Stoic advantage. You don't have to wait for others to behave. You don't have to wait for life to be fair. You can reclaim your peace at any moment, because no one gave it to you, it was always yours. Think about the last time you lost control. Really think. Where was your attention? Were you in the present, or were you in the imagined future? Were you reacting to what was said, or what it meant to your ego? So much of emotion is ego. The part of us that needs to be right. To be admired. To be heard. To be in control. And when it's not, we lash out. But what if you didn't need to be any of those things? What if being calm was more important than being right? What if your dignity mattered more than your pride? The Stoics would say that the wise person is not the one who feels nothing, but the one who chooses what to feel and when. Not a robot. Not a stone. But a human being who has mastered the art of response. You see, the opposite of emotional chaos is not numbness, it's harmony. Alignment between what you feel and what you value. And values are what keep you anchored. When the storm comes, and it will come, you don't hold on to your feelings. You hold on to your principles. Justice. Courage. Self-discipline. Compassion. These don't change with your mood. They are the pillars that hold you up when emotion wants to pull you down. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be, even when I'm hurt? That is your true identity. Not the one that explodes under pressure. But the one that holds the line in silence. Every moment of emotional struggle is a test, and a chance to come home to yourself. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You only have to stay in command. Because the world doesn't reward outrage, it exploits it. It feeds off your anger. Your fear. Your panic. It sells it back to you in headlines and comment wars and dopamine hits. You are not obligated to participate. You can step back. You can unplug. You can say no to the noise. And in that quiet, you can remember, peace is not passive. It's a discipline. A muscle you build through daily choices. A refusal to be dragged into storms that aren't yours. You don't owe anyone your reaction. You owe yourself your serenity. And once you taste that, once you feel what it's like to walk through chaos with stillness inside, you will never go back. Because this is the freedom most people never find. The freedom to feel, and not be ruled. There will come a moment when everything you've practiced will be put to the test. Not in silence. Not in theory. But in the heat. In the chaos. Someone will say something cruel. Something unfair. They'll push. They'll bait you. And the old you will rise. The one that wants to bite back. The one that wants to win. But you won't. Because you'll remember, no one wins in the fire. You'll take a breath. Feel the anger swell. And you'll let it pass. Like a wave hitting a stone, loud, but powerless. This is not weakness. This is mastery. The Stoics taught, the greatest victory is not over another, but over yourself. You don't defeat your enemies by crushing them. You defeat them by refusing to become them. And it's not just about surviving confrontation. It's about who you are when no one is watching. When you're alone with your thoughts, and they turn dark. When the anxiety rises. When the past knocks. When fear whispers worst-case scenarios. That's when control matters most. Can you hold the line when no one sees you? Can you be your own protector? Can you stay loyal to your peace? This is not about pretending. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about choosing how you carry it. Emotions are information. They show you what matters. But they are not instructions. They don't get to decide your actions. That's your role. Your right. Your power. So let the feeling come. Let it knock. Let it scream. But you, stay still. Don't confuse noise with truth. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it's real. And when it fades, as it always does, you'll still be there. Intact. Unburned. This is the path of the Stoic, not to escape life, but to enter it with full awareness and unshakable presence. Imagine this, you walk into a room where tension hangs in the air. Someone looks at you with contempt. You feel the old reflex rise. But you don't move. You don't respond. You simply observe. You feel the heat, but you do not boil. That silence is not emptiness. It is strength restrained. Or another day, you wake up and everything feels wrong. The weight of the world presses down. The mind starts to spiral. But you catch it. You say, I see you. I hear you. But I do not obey you. You get out of bed. You breathe. You carry on. That is the quiet victory. No one will write about it. No one will applaud it. But it will change your life. Because emotional control is not about making a moment better. It's about making a life better. It gives you space to think. To choose. To become who you admire. And slowly, day by day, you stop being the victim of your feelings. You become the author of your fate. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you feed it anger, it will live in rage. If you feed it fear, it will walk in panic. But if you feed it clarity, courage, compassion, it will reflect those colors back into everything you do. So choose what you feed it. Choose what you allow to enter. Not every emotion deserves your attention. Not every provocation deserves a reply. You are not obligated to attend every battle you're invited to. You can decline. You can walk away. You can say, this is not worth my peace. And then turn inward. Focus. Return to what matters. The world is loud. People are reactive. Life is unfair. But that's not your cue to lose yourself. That's your cue to rise above. And you will fail, sometimes. You will react. You will yell. You will regret. But that too is part of the work. The point is not to become perfect. It's to become conscious. To catch the emotion sooner next time. To pause longer. To rise faster. That is how control is built, not in one glorious act, but in hundreds of silent choices. So start now. The next time emotion rises, don't ask, how do I make this go away? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? And who do I want to be in this moment? Let that guide you. Let that center you. And as the days pass, you'll notice something. You'll stop fearing the storm, because you've become the calm within it. You'll stop waiting for peace, because you carry it with you. And in a world that screams, that reacts, that loses its mind over shadows, You will be the stillness others run to. You will be the silence that cuts through chaos. You will be the one who feels deeply, and remains free. Not emotionless, but unconquered.